Hello everyone, and welcome to the RV Inspection and Care podcast and video. I'm Dwayne. I'm a certified RV inspector, and today we're going to be talking about the reasons why so many RVers seem to hate Thousand Trails campground memberships so much. You know, I've learned over the years that there are some RV subjects out there that are just going to be controversial. They're going to have their supporters and they're going to have their detractors too. And Thousand Trails is one of those subjects. Now, I've made several videos actually about Thousand Trails campgrounds over the years. And I always, without fail, get the Thousand Trails haters who come on and leave comments that are complaining and very critical. And if you research Thousand Trails online, you'll see what I mean. You're going to see lots of negativity. I just made a video just a few months ago that explains the huge changes that Thousand Trails memberships have been going through in this last year. If you've been thinking about Thousand Trails at all, you really need to check that video out. So I'll leave a link to it in the description of this video and podcast for you. But when I made that video, well, I got a lot of questions from subscribers about issues that they had heard about, complaints about Thousand Trails. So we're going to discuss that in this video. I think I'm qualified to do that because we have personally owned a Thousand Trails upgraded membership that allows us to stay at any Thousand Trails or Encore park in their system all across the U.S. And we have done that for the past 6 years or so while full-time RVing. It means that I have stayed at a lot of Thousand Trails parks, a lot of Encore parks. The only area I haven't had a lot of experience with is along the west coast of the country. But I have stayed all across the south, all up the eastern seaboard, all down the middle of the eastern part of the country, and so on. And so I'm very familiar with Thousand Trails parks and their system. And I think I can answer the most common complaints out there. So let's start with the complaint list. Number one on the list, and it is the one you hear a lot. The park conditions are just awful. Well, I agree that there are some parks in the system for Thousand Trails that need attention. I'm not going to argue that. But the vast majority of the parks in the system are just fine. In fact, with all of the parks and campgrounds we have stayed at in Thousand Trails, there's only 2 so far that we would not go back to until they do some work to bring them up to date and upgrade them. You know what I think? I think a lot will depend on your expectations going in to buying a Thousand Trails membership. Most Thousand Trails parks are what I call rustic. That means they're going to be in rural settings most of the time, very few urban parks. More camping than glamping. In other words, you're not going to have paved roads in many cases. You're not going to have paved or concrete pads. It's going to be more of a rustic camping atmosphere there. Now, if instead you expect in a Thousand Trails membership that you're going to get high-end resort level parks no matter where you go, honestly, you're going to be disappointed in most cases. Now, that doesn't mean that Thousand Trails doesn't have those kind of parks, because there are some parks in the system that we have stayed at that really do have some really nice features. We've enjoyed Thousand Trails Orlando, Hershey, Pennsylvania. That's one of our all-time favorites. And in Encore parks, we stayed at a couple in Arizona that were really nice, like Mesa Spirit and especially Monte Vista. Lots of luxuries and amenities and so on. But in general, Thousand Trails parks are rustic. And if you are staying there so that you can go out and explore the region, you're going to really enjoy your stays in Thousand Trails. Now, let's go to the second complaint, and that is the cost for the upgraded plans. You're going to hear, oh, they're just too much money. You just can't spend that kind of money. Well, here's my advice. I think that before you step up and buy an upgraded membership plan, I think you should get a regional camping pass first. And that is a pass that allows you to stay in Thousand Trails parks in just a region. And don't just stay in one park or two parks in that region. I hear that a lot. You know, oh, I went to a Thousand Trails park and it was awful and I never went back. Well, you probably picked the worst park in the system when you went there. Instead, you know, kind of move around, check out several parks in the region. Then you'll know more about what Thousand Trails is all about. And you can decide if you want to upgrade to having access to all their parks across the country or not. But I believe that the best savings for Thousand Trails Campground membership owners are for part-time and full-time RVers, especially those on a budget who are trying to manage their camping costs, because that's really the most expensive part of RVing for most people. Usually you're going to be able to stay at Thousand Trails parks after you pay your membership for $0 a night. I mean, that's amazing. Yes, there are a few parks that charge you a little extra across the country, but not many, and it's not much extra. And while you're staying there, you're going to get full hookups, water, sewer, and electric. Once again, you're going to get people complain, I stayed at a park and they didn't have a sewer connection. Well, there's a few parks across the country like that, but every one I stayed at always had a honey wagon service, and I never found that to be a big thing to have to deal with. So once again, $0 a night in most cases, full hookups in most cases. Now let's talk about the cost. If you buy the cheapest upgraded membership plan, it means you're going to be able to stay at Thousand Trails Campgrounds for less than $5 a day if you stay every day out of the year. Now, I don't know anybody who does that, who stays in Thousand Trails every day. So let's cut it in half. Let's say you stay at Thousand Trails 6 months out of the year. It's going to cost you then a little less than $10 a day. What if you cut it in half again? Well, clearly you're going to be staying 3 months out of the year at Thousand Trails parks for less than $20 a day. Now, these figures are all at undiscounted membership plan costs. And I'm going to show you how you can save further on that and lower those costs by getting discounts. That'll be a little later in the video. But here's the point. Let's take the most expensive figure we just worked with. A little less than $20 a day if you stay in Thousand Trails 3 months total out of the year. How many RV parks do you know of today where you can stay with full hookups for less than $20 a day? I mean, most of them I know of are charging close to $50 a day and up from there, especially in the height of RVing season. But you get that figure of $20 a day, or however much it is, for the time you spend in Thousand Trails parks all year long. I believe there's huge savings for part-time and full-time RVers by staying in Thousand Trails campgrounds over most other RV parks. Let's go to complaint number 3, and that is the location of their parks. You're going to hear that. Oh, they don't have parks everywhere in the country. Well, yeah, that's true. There's plenty, though, on all the coasts, all down the west coast, all across the south, all up the eastern side, and even down the middle of the country on the eastern part of it. The one area they don't have a lot of parks is in the Midwest, and I will grant you that's where a lot of people like to go to the national parks, they want to go see Zion and Yellowstone and Glacier and so on, no Thousand Trails parks there. I never found that to be a big issue. If you want to go there, go and stay in some other parks, and then you can leave and go back to the Thousand Trails system afterward. But the bottom line is there is still a lot of parks all across this country in beautiful areas where you'll love to go out and explore. And just because it's not in one small area of the country, I wouldn't be too upset about that. The last complaint we're going to talk about. I can't get a reservation in Thousand Trails. Well, you can if you plan ahead and you have the right membership. All of the upgraded plans give you a longer reservation window. For instance, our plan gives us 4 months of reservation window. And we are planners. We like to plan out in advance. Honestly, we have never had a serious problem with making reservations because we plan ahead using our membership. Now, if you are a spontaneous camper, you like to just go and find a place to stay that night while you're on the road, that's fine, honestly. But you're not going to be happy with Thousand Trails in most cases. So plan ahead and you'll be fine. There are other complaints about Thousand Trails, but the ones I just covered are the most common, the ones you hear the most. Here's a good question then. What kind of RVer fits Thousand Trails best? I believe it's RVers that are on a budget, trying to control their campground costs, their nightly cost. Those who don't mind rustic conditions, they don't have to have the best of everything. Those who are flexible, they're not kind of rigid about their expectations. And those that are planners. Now, if what I just described fits you, then here's what I recommend. I think you need to contact Joanna DePace and Patrick Parizo. They are Thousand Trails specialists that I have personally worked with for a while now. They have handled a lot of people that are my subscribers and followers. Everybody's been really happy with them. Just get a hold of them, contact them, talk to them. They're not going to put a big sales pitch on you. They will answer all of your questions, and then you can decide what you want to do. And I hope this video that I've made is going to help you decide, first of all, whether Thousand Trails campground memberships will work for you or not. And I hope it has also helped address a lot of the complaints you hear about Thousand Trails out there. And that's it for now. Have safe and happy travels, my friends. Until next time.